Hello, Tiger fans. Thanks for tuning in for a new week of Tiger Timeout here on the Campbellsville University Sports Network. Matt Payton with you here in the studio as we take a look at Tiger and Lady Tiger basketball, beginning first with our women's team, the third-ranked team in the country. The head coach, Ginger Colvin, joins me. And, Coach, I think it's fast and furious probably at this point of your schedule. A busy weekend. You get a conference win over Cumberland last Thursday. You welcome in Miami-Middletown on Saturday. The long road trip awaits. You having fun here?
I don't know. I can't remember.
It's
like you said, fast and furious is about the best way you can put it. It's just have one and get ready. I don't know who did our scheduling, but man, she did a bad job.
Well, the first half of the schedule was a little start and stop, a little hectic for you guys at times, but then long breaks.
Yeah.
Now you're really, hopefully, into a bit of a rhythm and what tournament action will feel like down the line as well.
Yeah.
Cumberland University is an up-and-coming team. Mark Vaughn steps in there as the head coach, and anytime Kayla Gordon gets off the bus, it's probably the first one for Cumberland. You look, is she on the trip? She was. She had a nice day, but you guys still pull out a pretty impressive win on Thursday night.
She did, and I think they're proving, and with Mark, that they just won't quit. Lindsay had a 10-point lead the next game, and I think it came down to a buzzer beater for Lindsay, and they just have a lot of weapons, a lot of kids that can really score the ball. Kayla Gordon has always had her way with us and continued to. We felt like we had a good game plan against her, but she can just find ways to score. And they do a really, really good job. And he's added some kids, added some pieces, and I think they'll just continue to get better as the year goes on.
You've got some of those pieces that continue to get better yourself. Dia Bradley had 15 more in the win over Cumberland University. Hallie Allen in double figures. And Talon didn't feel great this past weekend. Not one of her better performances on the stat line, but still as productive as you could hope for from that spot.
Yeah, she's felt really bad, and it's just kind of one of those things. Everybody's had this mess that's going around, and but she just never wavered from it. Came out and I thought played really well. But when you mentioned Dia, I feel like Dia has made the biggest jump as of late as anybody. She's coming out and looking to score more, looking to do what she does well more, and maybe just a little bit more comfortable. Still some growing pains, I'm sure, ahead of her, but I think now we're seeing signs of what Dia can be and what she's going to be in the future.
The Lady Tigers get the win over Cumberland University on Thursday. They moved to 3-0 in Mid-South Conference play. They stepped out of conference for the final time this season against Miami-Middletown on Saturday. We'll take a look at some of the numbers from the win for Campbellsville over Miami-Middletown in the Powell Athletic Center. A high-scoring affair for CU, 96 points for the Lady Tigers. They hold the Thunderhawks to 60. Lauren Lee had 17, 8, and 6 steals. Those 6 steals career high. And then Whitney Hayes, 16 points, 3 assists. 16 for Maddie Nally to go with 10 rebounds, a double-double for her, 16 points, her career best. And, Coach, there are Lady Tigers that are in this program. Some, like those freshmen we talked about, they get they get a chance early. Maddie Nally and a couple of others have had to chip away at this thing and earn minutes where they can get minutes. And to see her succeeding and to see the way that she's contributed of late it's been really fun to watch.
It is fun to watch, and what Maddie brings to us is a lot. She can bring she's really good offensively, but doesn't really press herself, and but she's rebounding the ball. She's good for us defensively, and it's surprising to me when you look at kids that are seniors and think that's her career high, which it was a great game, but you just don't realize the sacrifice I think these kids have. And she's played behind some really good players, and she's been a great teammate and continues to be a good teammate, but it's fun to watch her succeed.
When you're scouting a team in Middletown, they brought 6 players. Obviously, you needed the game. You need the reps and all of that stuff that goes within that. But scouting, just 6, and then as the game's playing out, some foul troubles. Sam Bean got hit a few times, and she was dinged up. I mean, are they going to be able to get to the finish line here? How is this going to play out?
And that's not something that you come across much, but it was a game that we definitely needed, and they wanted to come play. And kudos to them for coming down. They had a couple kids that didn't make the trip that are normally on their roster, and the kids that came down and played hard. You have to give credit to them going on the road to a really good Mid-South team. And they battled the entire game. I thought they come out and shot it extremely well, and did a lot of things well against us, and so kudos to them.
A big week for Lauren Lee, Coach. She creeps over 1,400 points, and I know during the game they had mentioned that she had passed you on the all-time scoring list. Kind of inevitable, I guess, at this point in the season. The good news for Lauren, she's eclipsed you, so now we'll see how far she can climb.
Yeah, we'll start running some more stuff for her now, but good for her, and she's just been so good for us, and just come in and just continue to get better every year, and it's just fun to watch her play. She's just a really super solid player for us, and you just couldn't ask for more from a student athlete.
And maybe my favorite thing about Lauren is looking at her on the court, you'd never really know the score. She's unflappable. Now, she may get upset with an on-call every now and then, but she doesn't. You never know whether you're up 5, down 5, whatever it may be.
She's just there to play basketball, and she'll tell you that. And and that's what I told our kids at halftime. Mentally, we have to be on the level that Lauren's on right now. She's out there still taking charges. She's out there diving on the floor, probably against what I would prefer, but she's just playing basketball. It never really matters to her who the opponent is. It's just the fact that she's getting to play, and no matter what, she's going to play hard, and she's going to play focused, and I'd love to get all of our kids in that same mentality.
The Lady Tigers will hit the road this weekend. We'll see if they can get into Lauren Lee's mentality. They may need it as they face a pair of top 10s in Tennessee. They'll have Freed-Hardeman, the 7th-ranked team in the country, on Thursday. On Saturday, McKenzie, Tennessee, Bethel University, the 9th-ranked team in the country. We'll step away here. We'll come back and get the head coach's thoughts on those upcoming games. Stay with us here on Tiger Timeout.
Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome. Prediabetes does. 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, but with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. And you can change the outcome. Take the 1-minute prediabetes risk test today. Go to doihaveprediabetes.org.
Welcome back to Tiger Timeout on the Campbellsville University Sports Network. Matt Payton here with you once again as we talk to the head coach of Lady Tiger basketball, Ginger High Colvin, as Campbellsville gets set to take their long conference road trip. This weekend, they'll head to Henderson, Tennessee on Thursday night for a meeting with number 7 Freed-Hardeman. I'll have the call on 88.7 The Tiger for you. That tip-off 6:30 Eastern, 6:15 pregame coverage will begin. And Coach, it's a Freed-Hardeman team with a coaching change. Josh Epperson moved south to the Southeastern to take over that program. And then Abby Stutz, his longtime assistant, is promoted, and she's done a fantastic job for Freed-Hardeman. They were unbeaten up until this past weekend when they went to Georgetown and Cumberland's, but I'm sure they'll be hungry, and you guys will have to be on your best behavior.
They will, and I'm sure they're glad to be back home. And, it's a big game for them, and just every game in the Mid-South is a signature win. And when we can go and understand that everybody's out to get those signature wins, that it's a big deal. And going into their place on Thursday, they're hot. They have the 2 losses, but it's at Georgetown and at Cumberland, so you can't really put value a lot into that, and it's going to be a dogfight for sure.
And they've got several returning faces to that team. Obviously, Kaylee Odom has had a terrific year.
Yeah.
Rachel Satterley, you know what she's capable of. Oddly enough, her sister Jenna has joined her. Bethel has a set of sisters as well now. But a name that, when you look at Freed-Hardeman, that has really improved this season or made a bigger impact, Carissa Curtis is averaging about 13 points a game. She's played behind Fleming and White the last few years. She's getting her chance now, and she's making the most of it.
She is, and they've come in, and she's just jumped right into their system and is doing well. And they're just so solid. They bring 2 really good posts off the bench. Their guard play is good. Satterley's as good as it gets. And then you bring in Jenna, her sister, who's having a really good freshman season. They shoot it so well. It's going to make things hard for us. But, we've obviously watched a lot of film, and we're trying to get a really good game plan together. But it's it's a 2-game swing that's going to be tough.
And looking at that as Coach Stutz takes over, differences that you can pick up on or similar?
I think she's putting her kids in the right positions. I think she's great at game planning. She's great at the offense that they run. It's really smooth. Their defense is very good. They're not huge, but they still defend really well. And I think and of course her brother is the men's coach at Freed, so that's a good ear to bend whenever you want, because they have an exceptional team there as well. So just a lot of great basketball minds around her.
Could you function if Greg High was the coach of the Tigers?
We could not.
It wouldn't work?
If Greg was the coach of the Tigers?
Yeah.
Yes, I could function if Greg was the coach of the Tigers.
Could Greg function?
No.
Okay, all right. So we got to the bottom.
That one got me, man. I wasn't ready for that.
I didn't know. I mean, so Abby, kudos to you for being able to do that with your brother Drew, and then someone who's kind of like a brother to you, Chris Nelson. You'll visit him on Saturday in McKenzie.
Yes, and I'll just insert this. He has reminded me 1,000 times it's his birthday. On Saturday. He forgets my birthday because we're usually there every year playing in their classic, and it's usually around November 2nd, and he forgets my birthday every year. But he has reminded me over and over that it's his birthday. I could care less that it's his birthday.
Will there be any type of present?
There will not. No, his present, of course, is getting a win against us, but we're going to fight that one.
Yeah, we're gonna try to do something a little different. But Micah Hart has joined her sister Madison and a great freshman group that he's had with Mickey Buchanan coming in. Their point guard has made a huge impact as well.
They're just he's brought some kids in to go around Madison Hart who have just filled those voids and filled those voids well. He's bringing Cal off the bench now as point guard from last year who was injured, and the kid that he has out there now is just doing an outstanding job. And then you bring in a kid like her off the bench that can really shoot it and can run the program or run the system as well. And Bethel's always going to give you a lot of different looks. And then Mickey Buchanan, I think's come in and is one of the best freshmen in the league. And then Micah Hart as well. It's just a lot to contend with them, a lot of talent, a lot of athleticism, and we'll jump into that one, but for sure we have to get past Freed first.
The Lady Tigers on the road this weekend, down at Freed-Hardeman on Thursday, Saturday, McKenzie, Tennessee, Bethel University. Again, all those games on 88.7 The Tiger and Coach. Before I let you go, I do want to mention a couple of Lady Tiger commitments that have had some big performances of late. Katie Smiley broke Bowling Green's school record in three-point field goal makes the other night. She had 10, and then Lainey Anderson scored 42 for Anderson County, or Lainey Johnson, scored 42 for Anderson County. It's fun to keep up with these young ladies.
It is fun to keep up with them, and we wish we could do a better job, but we're so invested in what we're doing. But it's nice when you see a stat pop out like that, and Katie's really having to carry a lot of the load there. They've got a lot of youth behind her, and she's carrying that load. But to come in and hit 10 threes, I don't care if you're in the gym by yourself. If you hit 10 threes, that's a big feat, and we're so proud of her. She's an outstanding kid, and we're so excited about it. And then Lainey is Lainey, man. She can score the ball, and she's just continuing to be well. And Clay, and he does such a good job with his kids there. And when he tells me they're great kids, I know what I'm getting, and I'm so excited about her. And then one we didn't mention is Carrie Ann Williams. They just presented her with her 1,000 rebound ball as a junior. And the night they presented it to her, I think she had a triple-double. So she's just throwing numbers out right and left, points, rebounds, blocks, and a tremendous kid. And we're so excited about the kids. And not even, we've got kids out there that we didn't mention that I think are going to come in and just continue to make our program, hopefully set our standards a little bit higher even.
I may call Jonathan Carrie Ann's dad, see if she wants to reclassify to that 2025.
Believe me, the word's been mentioned.
It has been.
Yes, I doubt the coach would like that, and assistant coach Madison Stewart would probably not like that, but she's got a lot of talent, and we're so excited to get her here.
The Lady Tigers this weekend on the road. That I'm sure that upcoming freshman group and Carrie Ann as well will be keeping up with you guys as a couple of big ones for you.
And
Coach.
One more thing, the Lady Tigers went out and visited and watched an outstanding player. Can't say he's a recruit, maybe a recruit for Brent.
Yeah. I tell you, if it ever gets to the point where Brent has to recruit this one, it might have went off the rail for him. Clark is most definitely a baseball player. But the ladies, and you and I were talking about this week, the Lady Tigers walked into the gym, and he turned it up a notch. He knew, and I told you that he kind of took an elbow to the chin, and most of the time he would have walked off in tears. Mm-hmm. He had to grin and bear it that day. Yeah. The Lady Tigers were awesome. They rooted him on to victory, and we've got it in the works. So maybe we're gonna try to get them back for the tournament. I think that would be a real pick-me-up for Clark Payton, to say the least.
I think the girls had a good time too.
Coach, thanks for doing that, and best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
The Lady Tigers in action Thursday, Saturday, Mid-South Conference doubleheaders for Campbellsville University. 6:30 is the start for the women's game on Thursday. Coverage begins at 6:15. We'll step away, come back, and visit with the head coach of the Tigers, Brent Vernon, here on Tiger Timeout.
When I was 10, my mom got deported. We had a difficult time, and I feel that's why I didn't get to finish school. My husband is really supportive in a way that he pushed me to go back to school.
She wants to have a career so her kids can look up to her.
They both keep me motivated to go to school, and they see that if I do it, like, they can do it too, you know? I feel that everything's possible.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Welcome back, Tiger fans. Tiger Timeout continues on the Campbellsville University Sports Network. Thanks for joining us here this evening. The Tiger basketball team in action this week. Earlier this week, a win on the road at Midway. Prior to that, a home conference game with a tough Cumberland Phoenix team. The head coach, Brent Vernon, joins me. And Coach, before we look at that victory over Midway, let's rewind just a bit. You get Cumberland at home, and it's a Phoenix team we had talked about, not super deep. They're going to rely on the few guys that they rely on. You had a nice lead at halftime. Unfortunately, just not enough down the stretch in the second half.
No, you know, we talked after the Midway game. We've got to find a way to be a little more, get to a better starts in the second half. And we came out slow and sluggish and had some turnovers, and blink of an eye, it's all of a sudden a 10-point lead down to a tie game. And then we lose the lead, and it goes back and forth the rest of the half where, you know, we're trying to get over the hump and just couldn't quite get over the hump. But you got to give Coach Evans and his crew credit. They really sped us up. We sort of fell into a trap that they were wanting us to fall into, and just too many turnovers in the second half.
You know, the first 8 minutes of that game, Benji and I were on the broadcast. We talked. You held, I think, Demarius Boyd had no shot attempts. I don't think I called his name for 6, 7, 8 minutes. And in a blink, he's one of the best scorers in the country. Really, you held him down at times, but man, when they needed a basket, they were able to get in transition in the second half and made life difficult.
Yeah, he's a very good scorer. As a guy who's pretty efficient, but you know, you can force him into some tough shots. But as an offensive player that's as good as he is, he can make some tough shots. What happened in the second half? I thought our half-court defense overall was still pretty good, but the number of turnovers we had led to so many fast break opportunities, and that's where they thrive. And that was one of our keys to the game, no live ball turnovers to let them get going in transition. And unfortunately, we just had too many. And like I said, they made more plays down the stretch than we did. And,
you know, I hope that maybe that limited rotation for Coach Evans would play a factor down the stretch. And maybe it started to, but, you know, that week off, they didn't play last Saturday. They had that game canceled with Georgetown, or postponed at least, and you could tell they had some fresh legs.
They did. And you know, it's that time of the year where, you know, we've got a few guys banged up, which a lot of teams do right now, but there were times where I think we felt a little sluggish and tired, and again, it's tough to overcome, but we've got to be a little bit mentally sharper. We've said it all year, we're really close, very competitive about every single game. We're right there, and it comes to where we have to change the narrative. We have to dig down just a little deeper and get over the hump.
The Tigers were in action earlier this week against Midway on the road, and Campbellsville gets a win over the Midway Eagles earlier this week. The Tigers with an 8-point victory, 87-79. Cam Vick led the way with 31, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Vick's career high 35. He wasn't far off of that. Dalton Kramer, 20 and 6. Jay Milburn, 14 points, 5 rebounds for the Tigers. And Coach, you may be in a similar context to Cumberland University. They got you at your place earlier this year. You got one back over Midway. You hope to do that to Cumberland later on this season. But what's the conversation like with the Tigers, knowing they got you at home? A little easier to get them motivated, or
you know, I think it is. But at this time of year, I don't think that's the motivation needed. I'm not one that's always about the get back. I think you worry about your own yard and work on getting better. And again, I thought this game, we started out a little sluggish the first 5 or 6 minutes. Give Midway tons of credit. They play extremely fast, and it doesn't matter the time of the game or whatever, miss or make, they're playing fast. And that style sometimes creeps up on you. You talk about it in practice, you simulate it, you watch it in film, but until you're out there, it's like, wow, you know. And I thought they got us some early. Same thing sort of happened at halftime, but instead of some panic that we've had this year, I thought our guys did a great job of settling down, understanding the moment. You know, the first half we gave up, I think it was 34, and they ended up with a little over, you know, around 75. But that last minute 5, when the clock's stopping, timeout, some fouls, I thought we did a really good job of defensively containing them in transition and just making the right play offensively ourselves.
Yeah, and I know, you know, the win-loss column is not exactly where you want it this season, but it's a resilient bunch that you had. You got down 11 to Midway, and of course, you'd rather not dig the hole, but once it happened, they continued to chip away, and to end the first half, Jay Milburn hits a 3 to give you the lead. So you know you're right there. Even though you trailed by 11, you weathered that storm, and they showed what they were capable of. And I thought that 3 really gave you the momentum going into the locker room.
Yeah, I thought it was a really big shot. Again, we had battled back. We were down 11. The last 8 or 9 minutes of the half, we were plus 12. So we took the lead, relinquished it really quick to start the second half. But again, we didn't panic. We continued to trust ourselves. Still a few too many turnovers, and it's all, most of the time, always coming in that second half. So I think it comes from a mental aspect of you start getting fatigued, but you have to be able to fight through that fatigue and realize, you know, our depth yet last night or the 2 nights ago was a little bit depleted as well. And you know, there's not going to be as much subs, and you got to fight through it and figure it out. And I think that was a really good step in the right direction for our guys.
Cam Vick came over to me after the game and he asked, how many turnovers did I have? And he was disappointed. I said 6. Now, Cam, I got to give you one of those. I'm not going to count. Referee walked right in front of a pass that would have been, I think, an open Kobe Penny 3
absolutely.
had you guys wanted it. So we're gonna give you 5.5, I guess, Cam. But it matters. He after the game, he wanted to know. He walked over and he checked, and he scored 31 points, but it was the turnovers kind of had him bummed out.
Yeah, and well, you know, we go into practice. We took Friday off. We get into practice Saturday, and that's the one thing I'll say about this group. Like you said, the record may not be. They come every day ready to work, and we got after it Saturday. It was an intense practice. It was a defensive practice. So when you're playing in a defensive practice, obviously your offense too. And the one thing that Cam stressed, you know, as coaches were stressing it, but every time that a turnover was made, he made it a point, quit turning the ball over, you know, and he knows he's part of that too. But played a full game on Monday night, 40 minutes, didn't sub. I thought he did a pretty good job for the most part. Decision-making was a lot better.
The Tigers' busy week continues. They'll hit the road this weekend. Matchups with Freed-Hardeman on the road, the number 2 ranked team in the country. Also, Bethel and McKenzie, Tennessee. We'll step away. We'll come back and visit with the head coach about those upcoming contests. Stay with us here on Tiger Timeout. Our final segment here on this week's edition of Tiger Timeout. Matt Payton with you in the studios as we take a look at the week ahead for the Tigers. They'll go on the road. They'll make the trip to West Tennessee, Freed-Hardeman Thursday night. Saturday, they'll head to McKenzie, Tennessee to take on Bethel. And as Coach Brent Vernon joins me, Coach, I looked at the schedule. One of the first things that jumped out to me, this is that rare trip in league play. This was kind of a common occurrence, but nowadays you just have this one. I was thrilled to see you got Freed-Hardeman on the Thursday, Bethel on the Saturday, just because it's a shorter trip home on Saturday than that 5+ hour journey from Henderson. Yeah, we always talk about on this trip who would we like to play first, and there's no right answer. I think normally we play Bethel first, so I do like to flip a little bit just to see what happens, because you know, you play Freed on a Saturday, top 5 nationally.
strong, physical, do so much right. You have a game like you do against Bethel that's a lot of times more football than basketball. It's really hard to recover. Just a quick turnaround, and Freed sort of thrives off of that. It's not going to get any easier. You get a fresh Freed and whatever, and then you go Bethel, who is still big and strong and physical. So it's going to be tough, but a little different than what we're accustomed to. So it'll be interesting to see if it has any kind of effect. But guys are excited. I mean, you play a team number 2 nationally ranked, reigning national champions. It's always a great opportunity, and that's what we're seeing it as.
I don't know if you and I have ever had this conversation. One of my biggest pet peeves in all of sports, and the guys who are producing this, they know what I'm fixing to say, some of them. You said reigning national champion. My biggest pet peeve is calling them the defending national champion, because there's nothing that they are defending.
Correct.
Are you with me on that?
100%.
Okay, awesome. So Freed-Hardeman, not the defending national champions. They are the reigning national
Yes.
champions until March. So anyway, I'm glad we're on the same page as far as that goes. They got to win over Georgetown, number 1 in the country, number 1, number 2. So they're battle tested. They played some big matchups down in Florida.
Doubt.
They came back to the show and played. Drew Stutz's team is different, but still very, very good.
Incredibly good. They, he's built a great culture there. They lose 2 point guards last year, and you talk about a guy who started off the bench to mid-major Division I programs. They graduated Hunter Skurlock, who I thought was just epitome of what Freed-Hardeman basketball is. But they brought in some good, long, athletic guys. They returned some guys from that national championship team, so they understand what it's about. They're prepared. They'll be ready to go. It'll be a great test for our guys, and something, again, we're looking forward to.
Let's take a look at the numbers from this upcoming matchup between Campbellsville and Freed-Hardeman as the Tigers hit the road. The Tigers will take on Freed. 17-2 is Freed-Hardeman on the year, one of the nation's top scoring teams as well. That matchup, Coach, it's going to be the scouting report for you is going to be as challenging as one that you do all season long.
Yeah, they play a style of defense that, they switch everything, whether it's off the ball, on the ball. They're long, they're athletic, they're physical. Offensively, they run a lot of just flow offense. They don't have as much ball screen action as you see from all these other teams. Basically, 85–90% of our practices is ball screen defense and the gap defense and all this stuff, and then you get to Freed, who they'll set some ball screens, but it's not your prototypical stuff, and you don't see it as much. So it's a lot different. They don't play a true center. Peyton Law, who's a 3-4, big, strong, and physical, is a center in their offense, but they just have basketball players. They understand how to play, do a great job in that system. A challenge that we're ready to go after.
And then Saturday, McKenzie, Tennessee, Bethel. A lot of times, as you mentioned, these games with the Wildcats, whether they're in Campbellsville or in McKenzie, Tennessee, they are knockdown, dragouts, physical games, big team. And a lot of similar names for this Bethel team, but also some new ones as well for Coach Jeff Britt.
Yeah, a lot of guys back, post guys, a couple guards, but they brought in some other guards who shoot the ball a little better than what they've done in the past. I always say this with Bethel, and it's nothing again. They always muck the game up a little bit. Sometimes their best offense is getting it on the rim and trying to be physical to offensive rebound. They start 6'8", which you don't see tons of in the post. They're always playing 2 actual posts, where a lot of teams are playing 1 in some unconventional, undersized positions. So it makes it a little tough. You have to be able to guard the ball. You have to be able to rebound the ball. And then on the offensive end, you got to be able to execute, because if you can get the right shots, I think you can get some points up. But it's hard around the rim because of their length and physicality.
And before I let you go, we've got to congratulate Jaylee Vernon and the Cardinals, as they went to Owensboro this past weekend and had a nice trip out there. Runner-up in the 2A state tournament. I know that's a big deal for them, and they were pretty close to pulling off the win.
They were. I mean, they were down 11 4 minutes ago and actually had a shot at the buzzer to win. They've had a great year. I want to say Coach Turner's done a great year and a great job in year 1 for his team. A lot of young girls, a lot of veteran girls playing together, but I think there's a chance for them to really make a run in this postseason, so hopefully they can keep that going.
Coach, best of luck this weekend.
Thanks, Matt.
The Tigers on the road this weekend. Again, Tiger and Lady Tiger double headers Thursday and Saturday at Freed-Hardeman. Those are both Central Time, so push the starts back 6:30 and 8:30, and then you'll have 2 and 4 o'clock on Saturday for both clubs. For the head coach, Brent Vernon, as well as Ginger High Colvin, Matt Payton saying we'll see you next time here on Tiger Timeout.